Welcome to 247 Real Talk. I'm your host, Julian Perry, and it's a pleasure to be here with you once again for another episode of the 247 Real Talk podcast. I hope you had a great week. We've had crazy weather in New York. It was a heat wave from, I think, starting last Saturday. Each day the real feel was over 100, broken by a thunderstorm last night, and today was overcast, cool, and I think it was about 68 degrees. So we were almost down, 30-something degrees in one night. I hope you guys had a great week since we last spoke. Again, I'm still straightening out my new digs, but I'm getting close. I'm getting close to going back to the normal format. Well, it won't be the normal format. It's going to be a little bit more personal. I'm going to introduce you and bring you into my space, a little bit more my technical space. There are a lot of things around me. You can see my VR headset here. I love to look at, go into the VR worlds, and not so much of a gamer. I am a bit of a gamer for some of the shooting games. I like that. But otherwise, there's a lot of sensory things and a lot of something called, I just saw Fluid VR, which I have, now has a full movie theater app in it. So it's really nice. Anyway, before I start this week's episode, I wanted to remind you guys, come back to a story I talked about. A couple of weeks ago, I went to Great Wolf Lodge with some families for the kids' homeschooling graduation. One of the families found bed bugs in their bed, went down to complain at the reception center, and the persons at the reception center called her the B word, even though because she complained about these bed bugs. The bartender got into some altercation with her because she asked for some of her drink. And basically, she called when she got back, and they sort of weren't acting correctly. And she told them, she says, I'm going to go on social media and I'm going to tell everyone that this is what you guys are doing. So they called her, they contacted her eventually, and they said they're going to comp everything, right? So everything is comped. I want to move this camera down a little bit if you don't mind. Everything is comped, and she didn't have to pay for anything. But imagine a resort, something like Great Wolf. It's a massive resort, water park, indoor water park. And the person who called to tell her about the comp said, congratulations on your blackmail, I guess you won. Now here's someone who, I really have to get those photos and show you what these bed bugs look like. They were all over the bed. And this is after they had prepped a room and told her room was ready. So imagine you having your clothes and everything in there. The hotel, the resort, whatever, should have been so apologetic and done everything to make you feel not only worthy, but that make you feel that you could come back. This was a genuine mistake, or maybe came in from the other guests or something. But no, congratulations on your blackmail. I guess you won. Do me a favor. Don't be like us. Don't spend your money at Great Wolf Lodge in the Poconos in Pennsylvania. Go to a place and spend your money that actually cares about you. We will never go back there. Anyway, on to the episode this week. It's going to be a short one. It is Thursday, June 26th. I normally record on Wednesdays. These weeks have been so busy at work and everything else that I've been recording on Thursdays, which keeps me up really late because I have to edit and then get this ready for Friday morning release. And I have been suffering from insomnia for years, and last night I don't think I got an hour's sleep. So I'm really out of it. I had a day full of meetings, and I'm tired. But I thought, when I saw this, I had to bring it to your attention. So we haven't talked about student loans for the longest while. We know that this current administration restarted the student loan payments. So I'm going through the news media, reports, and I see one that says, as of right now, 8 million people have defaulted on their student loans. In August, there'll be another million, which is 9. And by September, there'll be 2 million more, which is 11 million people. The article was sort of focusing on the fact that this administration is being aggressive at collections. And so we're going to have, in addition to an economy that is tanking quickly, we're going to have a situation now where people are going to lose their homes. I remember there was a time years ago when there was a recession I remember going down to a friend's house in Queens and driving down his block, and like every block had 2 empty homes lost to foreclosure. It was abysmal. And since then, things have revived. People have bought the foreclosures, they rebuilt. But student loans is not something you should lose your life over. Student loans is not something that you should have to tell your kids that we have to move out to the home you love and live in. Student loans should be something that the government says to its people, go get your education, come serve us, come make America great again. And after so many years of working with us, if you give us this amount of years, your education is free. Or come work for any American company. So there's a twist to this. The House recently passed a bill that puts some responsibility back on the colleges for defaulted student loans. When I first saw it, I was excited because those of you who have followed my student loan stories over and over again have heard me talk about the fact that if I'm going to go to your university, if you're going to charge me 70-something, I know someone that was just going to UC Davis from New York, non-resident, and the tuition was $72,000 or $74,000 a year. Imagine that. So after 4 years, you're at almost $300,000 in student loans. And that's for a bachelor's, which in many fields doesn't go that far. So it should be on these universities to say, you know what, if I'm charging you that much for an education, I will build relationships with companies and I will market my graduates to those companies, creating an agreement that when this person graduates and they maintain a certain GPA, they do their part, that we will do placement for this person. Now, if you mess up your placement, that's something else. But we will at least give you an opportunity to start with a job that is equal to the degree you got and what you paid for it, so that you can afford to pay your student loans and still live and still pursue the American dream. When you finish with a bachelor's and a master's and you're $500,000 in debt, $500,000, how can you pursue the American dream if you have to pay that back on a salary that's way less than you should be making? So I was excited for a moment. But then I started to ponder where we've been going as a country. And then I started to ponder seeing marches and seeing supremacist groups, white supremacist groups, walk through these marches, peaceful gatherings, where I've seen people blatantly feel that it's okay to be racist. Where I see people, human beings walking around, human beings who walking around today and could be dead tomorrow but for God, feel that because of the same God who made all these people and chose not to make everyone look alike, chose to create diversity, is watching a world and a country that's removing diversity. Let me run that to you again. The same God who created the billions of people on this earth with diversity, different languages, different colors of their skin, different colors of their eyes, different heights, different hair textures, different complexions, different parts of the world, different skill sets, different abilities, different paths in life. That is diversity of mankind. And that same God is watching a nation that has removed diversity and called it equal. Now, the Bible says all men were created equal. So if the Bible says all men were created equal, and God created this with diversity, and you remove diversity, then you've gotten imbalance with God. And you have to figure that out. But where I'm going with this is, I said, okay, what happens next? A university could choose, and there are those out there who have refused to remove their DI policies and have faced harsh penalties, but they have seen the benefit in DI. I know, again, I'm going to go back to the fact that we become such a prejudiced nation that all we hear and think about when we think about DEI is people of color. We don't think about medical care. We don't think about the handicapped. We don't think about how many things we take for granted. I always make the mention of you walk along the sidewalk, and when you get to the corner, the curb is lowered so that you can roll over with a bike or a wheelchair or whatever. That's DEI. There's so many more things that are wrapped up in DEI. But all this nation can focus on is DEI is making sure that people of color, who they claim were the beneficiaries, rightfully so, will not get that benefit anymore. Yet you call it fair. So I thought about it and I said, well, if I'm a university who is being pressured to take on a certain persona, not to be financially penalized to the point that they can cripple my university. Universities are long-standing universities with tradition and legacies. Then my approach to DEI would be that you have to have certain financial means to pay my tuition. Because for the bill that was passed by the House, I don't see any stipulation that says you can hire a poor person, you can accept a poor person into your university, give them loans to finish their education, and take that person who came out of poverty and get them a job that they've now kept their GPA up and have excelled academically and in every other manner, and now this person who was making minimum wage can now earn $500,000 a year. That's an investment. No. I can see universities saying, well, we cannot employ DEI, so we'll set our acceptance criteria not only on your grades in college, in high school, and all the exemplary things you've done. One more requirement, even if you pass SATs or whatever, is going to be to give us your bank statements. It's going to be to show that you can pay this education, because I'm university, I'm not taking this blow. And if I turn around and I help you to get an education where you can make this kind of money, helping you, the poor colored minority, would mean that I have given you a DEI alternative. I have employed one of the characteristics of DEI, and I will be penalized for that. What's the outcome? The outcome is, or will be, that we will go back to a society where people of color that make up the majority of people of lesser financial means can no longer get an education, qualifications, fulfill their passions to learn in an academic institution, despite them topping their high school academically in sports and everything else, because mommy and daddy can't afford to pay the tuition. And the schools will not give me or consider the student loans, because it may be seen that the school consider this person as a DEI choice. Listen carefully. I talk to you guys every week and tell you to pay attention to what's going on around you. There are a lot of things that are floating around out there that I'll be talking more about, that are little pieces to a bigger puzzle. We, the people, who are part of the body that elected the government by the people, for the people, are being targeted. Our history, our opportunities being erased. We're just asking for a chance. We love this great country just like anyone else. We want to be a part of the tapestry that makes up this great nation. People have died. People have given up their lives to get us to where we are today. There are schools out there that are removing history books that show our journey. People of color, women, LGBTQI. It's not just people of color. It's minorities considered a minority financially. A minority by color, because the supremacy makes up one race, creed, or color. There are many people who are sitting in good financial status, many people of color. And they have chosen to be blind to what's going on around them. They feel that what they have accomplished, all that they own, their huge bank accounts, cannot be manipulated and removed from their grasp without any control. And it can. The same support you provide to what's changing history and reversing history and reversing efforts and reversing accomplishments and reversing sacrifices is the same process that can reverse you. Those of you who choose not to see the truth can be reversed involuntarily. It happens every day. You have got to decide where you stand and what you stand for. It's amazing to see people talk so negatively about immigrants when every single one of us in this country is a descendant of an immigrant. None of us were born here originally. This country was discovered, so to speak. And when it was discovered, there were inhabitants here, the original inhabitants. All the forefathers from then on who came and settled and had children, who had children, who had children, who had children, were all children of immigrants. Those of us who have managed to make it, those who are wealthy and have enjoyed every part of the American dream, thank their forefathers. But they leave out the fact that their forefather was an immigrant, and had it not been for the compassion of someone else to let them settle and to give them all opportunities to live their lives and become who they were and who you are today, that you would not be where you are today. It's amazing how hypocritical we can be, how inhumane and insensitive we can be when the world feels like it's at our fingertips. I've mentioned in the last two podcasts about my friend Greg Rickford. I mention Greg a lot because I miss Greg a lot. My some nights when I go to sleep, I don't sleep. And it's not nightmare, it's just so many memories of the times I spent with Greg. I can hear his voice, I can hear his laughter, I can hear some of his encouragement and some of his advice that he gave me. And the fact of the matter is that he is 3 years, or was 3 years younger than I am, 3.5 years. And 2 weeks ago, Monday, he went to bed, and Tuesday morning, he didn't wake up. I watched his funeral and his cremation from here. It's left me with a powerful understanding of how grateful I am and should be with whatever I have and wherever I am. It has strengthened my commitment to sit here, even when I'm tired, when my eyes are tired, when I haven't slept, and have a conversation with you about your call to action, your voice, your effort, your whatever you can do to make a difference. It is imperative that you get up, that you stand up, that you speak up, that you become, if you write to congressmen, you have to do something. As we unite and the voices get louder, look the idea that the No Kings March. Look what happened around the nation. Look at that powerful, peaceful presence, and understand that we can multiply that by thousands more. There were some places that had 100,000 people, 2, 3, 5, 10,000, 30,000. Imagine if we all came together, a country of 300 and something million people. We give these people the power over us. We elect them, and then we allow them to divide us as people. And as long as we're divided, we have given power over us to someone else. Understand that what does not affect you today can affect you tomorrow. Understand that having a conversation today may be your opportunity to have the last conversation of your life. If you were able to listen and reflect in your life after you left here, maybe we can. None of us know because we're here. How would you feel to know that you had that opportunity? You had that opportunity to leave here, and before you did, you were able to impart the effectiveness of your presence on this earth to help a cause move forward towards equality and fairness of all people. I understand closing the borders because you're not vetting people, but you're kicking people out who belong here. Farmers are suffering because they just realized that the workers on these farms are these people who grew up in lives in other countries farming. They are part of what's necessary for our country, this country, to produce its own food, both to be used internally and exported. People are hurting. The economy is going in the wrong direction because of the wrong choices. The economy is going in the wrong direction because choices have been made to segregate, divide people, and to tell people who maybe they have a work permit only, but who toil in the hot sun with their bare hands to contribute to this society and to contribute so that you and I can eat, have been kicked out of here simply because they're not a citizen, or because they came in and they stayed and they're going through their process of with the immigration office, and they show up for their regular visit, they're keeping their appointments, and there's someone waiting to take them out. Let your voices be heard. Don't take your success at whatever level for granted. Don't think that by not showing gratitude and reflecting and being honest with yourselves from where you come, how you got here, that there's not a price to pay, and that you don't owe this world, your environment, the people who helped you, something, a give back. Someone helped me. And so many people helped me so many times that even when I'm tired, I sit before you week after week, hopefully encouraging you, and at the same time showing you that because I know who I am and whose I am, that the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart have to be acceptable in His sight. I leave you with this. If you look deep down in your soul, are you okay with who you are? Do you think you've done enough? Do you think there's something you can do? Either way, you ought to try. Because trying is the first step to uniting and making a difference that will not only fulfill what we need in our lives today and tomorrow, but for those we leave behind us when we've gone. We must leave the world better than we found it. We cannot allow the world to go back to the way it was when human lives meant nothing. It's time. It's time. It's time. Until the next time, please take care of yourselves and each other.